You heard the answer that was General Dempsey just gave. Do you agree with this statement?
I do.
You know, I wasn't here during the, I'm sorry I missed your opening statement, and I didn't have the benefit of reading it, but I think it's worthwhile getting on the record again. You've heard many times the statements of James Clapper and others, the Clapper statement looking back now over my half century of intelligence. I've not experienced a time when we've been beset by more crises. He repeated that in a different way later, and of course, just last week we had General Stewart saying essentially the same thing. Now, I assume that you agree with those statements.
I do. When I started in this business, there was one problem, which was the Soviet Union, and now we have 10.
Yeah, those are the good old days, weren't they?
I
can say that.
I know. I remember enough not to be too nostalgic. It was pretty serious, but the world is so much more complicated, so much is more happening exactly as you say. You
know, hearing Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning, that just drove that home. I was thinking how easy that was. Yes, the threat was terrible. We had two superpowers. We knew what they had. They knew what we had. They were predictable. We were predictable. Mutual assured destruction meant something. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And I was just thinking about that, how different that is today. The other thing I wanted to mention is that you've heard what General Odierno, Admiral Green, General Walsh, and General Dunford all testified, and they talked about if sequester is coming in. Now, you said something that I think is more significant. You said even with the fiscal year 16 budget, the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps won't reach their readiness goals until 2020, and the Air Force until 2023. Is that accurate? So what you're saying there is, even if it's not our budget without the sequestration, you're saying that threat is there.
Yeah, what's going on there is digging ourselves out of the hole of sequester in the past, particularly the 2013 budget, the year in which the shutdown occurred, and so forth. And the thing about readiness is that it's easy to have it fall off, but then it takes time to build it back. And I think what the chiefs were saying absolutely accurately is we lost a lot of readiness through the turmoil of the last few years, even if we're given the opportunity, as we hope with this budget, to start building back. It's just in the nature of training that it takes a while to get that readiness back. So there, I do agree with them, yes.
Yeah, Secretary Carter, do you, you were over there, well, of course, this is the first time you've appeared before this committee in this capacity. And when you were over there, and you apparently had some time, pretty good quality time with President Ghani when you were there. And it was observed, I think, by General Dempsey that we don't operate in a vacuum here. What we're saying, the whole world knows. Is there anything you want to add with our relationship with President Ghani that would be beneficial to have the whole world know, or those who are participating in that theater?
Yes, one thing, which is that he is a partner in a way that we have been looking for, and without whom the sacrifice that we've made over these last 10 years can't be successful. He understands what we've tried to do for him. He knows that it has been a great benefit to his country, and not just to protect our country, of course, which it has, and was why we went there in the first place, to protect ourselves from the breeding ground of the 9/11 attacks on our own country. And I think everybody who participated in this campaign ought to know, around the world in our coalition, that we have now in President Ghani somebody who really gets the sacrifice that we've all made on behalf of Afghanistan, and is committed to making the progress that we've made there stick. That's what I'd say.
Okay, that's good. I appreciate that. Senator Reid talked about our limited resources now, and I wasn't sure I understood your answer there. Do you think people are out there, and it doesn't matter where they are, it can be the Ukraine, it can be Georgia, it can be any place, do they recognize that we don't have the resources we've historically had and are able to do what we have historically done?
Well, they hear us saying that, and they hear us debating that. You know, I hope, and this is something I try to say, and I'm sure you all try to say, which is, yes, we're having internal debates and so forth, and we don't like what is going on here, and I certainly have said that today, but don't underestimate the will and the power of the United States.
Yeah.
And I hope people understand that as well, because we still have the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen.
Yeah, I understand that, and we're kind of aiming that toward others. People look at us, and yes, we do. But looking here at home, when even you admit that with the current budget, even without sequestration, our risk level is going to increase, right?
That the risk is measured in the readiness that needs to be restored, as you mentioned.
Risk
Absolutely.
means lives, doesn't it? General Dempsey, should Congress pass AUMF without restrictions?
I'm the military guy in the room, and I would always seek to preserve all of our options. I was consulted on the document passed to the Congress, and it will allow us to meet the campaign as we've designed it. You say without restrictions. That really now becomes a decision between you and your colleagues.
All right, Secretary Carter.
Exactly the same answer. Key to us is, can we do our campaign?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.